Today, Chicago police responded to a report of shots fired in the Abla Homes housing complex in Little Italy near Troop and Hastings. According to CPD, there was an exchange of gunfire between two unknown suspects who then ran from the scene. 8 people were shot, 5 women between the ages of 18 and 74, and 3 men between 23 and 36 years old. Injuries range from gunshot wounds to the leg, head, back, knee, and groin. 7 of the victims were taken to the hospital and all are expected to be okay. Then, just before 2 in the morning, police found 6 people shot on the west side on the 100 block of South Menard. CPD says there was a shootout between 2 unknown suspects who then ran from the scene. 2 women ages 18 and 20, a 15-year-old boy, and 3 men between the ages of 23 and 25 were transported to different hospitals and are expected to recover. But things turned deadly for some in the Greater Grand Crossing neighborhood on the 4th of July. Police were busy yesterday after 5 people were shot in a home near 71st and Woodlawn around 6:15 in the morning. Neighbors say men in ski masks got out of 2 vehicles and fired into the home, killing 24-year-old Capri Edwards, who was shielding her 1-year-old child. Her aunt, 46-year-old Nikisha Strong, also died. 3 sons of the victims, ages 5, 7, and 8, were also shot and were in critical condition at Comer Children's Hospital. The 8-year-old boy has since died. Police believe the shooting stems from some sort of personal dispute the community activists wanted to stop.
Let's come together. Let's stop it all. We know it's senseless. We hear it every day. But if we don't work together, it won't stop.
Critically injured. Tia has been in the neighborhood talking to investigators and neighbors. Tia, what do we know about the victims?
We're outside of Comer Children's Hospital right now, Sylvia. What I can tell you is July 4th will never be the same moving forward for this family. This is definitely a time where families get together and they celebrate, but sadly now, this family is planning for 2 funerals. We know a woman in her 20s is now dead. Her aunt in her 40s is now dead, and 2 of her children are here at Comer Children's Hospital fighting for their lives. A 3rd child, age 8 years old, is also fighting for his life. He's related to this family, and as of right now, what we know is this all started with just a knock on their front door.
I honestly can't even tell you what I thought was going on.
Frank Mixon was home visiting from college when he woke up to gunfire.
I just woke up, went upstairs, and I just saw a massacre of everything, you know. So it was very vivid for the mind for me to just see everything. It was crazy.
His mother, Nikisha Strong, in her 40s, was killed. Mixon says she worked hard. She was an employee of FedEx.
My mom, like, such an amazing woman. No one ever showed me how to go get in and work hard like her. Working day and night, taking care of kids who weren't hers.
Described as the person in the family that would get everyone together here at her home in the 7100 block of Woodlawn. A neighbor reported seeing
Had a deadly shooting. 8 people were shot, and we know that 1 of them has died. Many of these were young people.
Now, this comes exactly a year after another mass shooting happening in King Sessing, killing 5 people. Now, Hank is live at the scene in Southwest Philly, where, Hank, you're seeing quite a bit of damage that remains from that shooting.
Yes, I mean, there was apparently a ton of lead flying through the air down here last night at Concessing and 60th. I'm just trying to figure out, maybe doing my own bit of police work, there seem to be 2 bullet holes in this particular Mazda right here. It could be 2 hits. It could be one going in one window, going out the other. Police are still trying to match it together, guys. But listen, 8 people are hit. 1 of them killed. 3 of them are juveniles down here, transported to several different area hospitals. It happened about 11:30 last night. Police say, again, here near the intersection of 60th and Concessing as it goes down towards Salford Street. And Philly Police Inspector Kapana Masakoi says that officers realized it was happening when one patrol officer found a person shot in the middle of Concessing.
Officer was on patrol in this area and saw a shooting victim on the highway. The officer immediately came over police radio and stated that she had seen shooting, and other officers responded and found other victims on the highway and transported them to the hospital. The total victims that arrived at the hospital were counted at 8 at this point. 5 adults and 3 juveniles, and the juveniles age ranges are between 16 to 17. It is very alarming, and especially when we had officers in the area to try to prevent anything like this from happening, and it's still happening. So we take it very seriously and find it very, very alarming.
Sure, and again, it's 1 person dead from 8 shots, 5 adults, 3 juveniles. Police have not released any identities. Police say there is no known motive. There haven't been any arrests and no weapons recovered. Take a quick look at this live shot that we have from CHOP. All the victims were transported, not just to CHOP, but to 3 other area hospitals, Hub Cedar and Presbyterian were the other 2. But they went to CHOP and these other hospitals via emergency vehicle, privately owned vehicle. Steve Keeley reports even one went by ride share, if you can buy that. But there's
shaken up over a deadly shooting. The victim, just a 22-year-old man. And Jeff, there were nearly 30 casings found at the scene.
Yeah, the attackers were running and shooting. Look, our region continues to struggle with easy access to guns and gun violence, this time in Upper Darby, where a young Philadelphia man is literally chased and gunned down. The people living in the collection of homes around Upper Darby's Penarth and South Keystone Avenues have spent their lives here. The quiet of this community of large stone homes was pierced in the early morning hours.
I was sleeping and I heard all this pop, pop, bang, 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 pop. Boom, boom, bang, bang, pop, pop. And I thought, fireworks, but I thought, fireworks, my foot. Gunshots.
Repeated gunshots echoing in the dark as police say 22-year-old Jamie Reed of Philadelphia was chased along Penarth by 6 attackers, some spraying gunfire. He dropped and died on this patio of an 88-year-old homeowner.
We believe that was the scenario, that they were lying in wait for him to come out. Something got him out of the building there, and that's when they approached him.
A bullet struck this sedan near the home where Reed died, and just around the corner, a bullet tore through a grill and struck a window frame and wall. Grill, window, wall.
Yeah.
What do you make of this?
It's just crazy. The most I'm glad of is I wasn't sitting in that spot.
Because had you been,
I wouldn't be here.
None of the residents was injured. Investigators believe the attack was sparked by a dispute in Philadelphia, which spilled into neighboring Upper Darby. Police are scouring for video to ID the shooters, while a resident, asking not to be seen on camera, feels something's been lost in her lifelong community.
And we have, the mischief, the eggs, the flat tires and things like that, but nothing like this. In my whole life, nothing like this.
61 mass shootings across the country so far this year.
And data shows the 4th of July has historically been one of the deadliest days of the year. CBS 2 investigators are digging into this disturbing trend. This morning's mass shooting in the Greater Grand Crossing neighborhood that left 2 women dead and 3 kids critically injured was one of at least 236 shootings across the country in just the last 72 hours. That's according to the Gun Violence Archive, a data collecting nonprofit, which has also found that 4th of July week shootings are on the rise. There have been over 80 total mass shootings nationwide over the past 3 years between July 1st and July 7th. One of the 27 mass shootings during the 4th of July week in 2022.
The memory of the day lingers vividly in our minds. 7 precious lives, senselessly taken from us, leaving behind shattered families.
The 4th of July parade shooting in Highland Park that left 7 dead and dozens wounded. The Gun Violence Archive says there were 72 U.S. mass shootings in the month of June, bringing 2024's total to 261. Prior to 2020, they'd never logged a month with more than 60 mass shootings. Since then, it's happened 22 times.
Pretty empty on the 4th of July on a day that normally should be filled with cars and visitors. This after an overnight shooting left 1 person dead and a park ranger injured. This was the scene in Canyon Village, an empty parking lot and crime scene tape, as FBI officers investigate a shootout that the park says began overnight and went into the morning. Park rangers responded to a report of a person who was making threats with a firearm. When rangers came in contact with the person, they did exchange fire. The person later died. Viewer photos sent to MTN News this morning show a tense scene as officers in tactical gear enter a building. The shootout did leave one Yellowstone Park ranger injured. They were taken to the hospital and are currently in stable condition. The Canyon Lodge area was closed throughout the day. There were several employees working at some shops who were not able or wanting to go on camera. The FBI took over the investigation, and the National Park officials would not talk to us on camera. This incident does remain under investigation. The National Park says that they will release any new
to 2853 Quest Inn Drive South on a report of a disturbance fight between neighbors. While en route, they received another phone call on the report of a possible person shot. Upon arrival, it actually turned into being numerous people shot in front of numerous small children, teenagers, etc. They were parties between at these two households, and they started a fight in between them, and unfortunately erupted in gunfire. As a result of this, we had an adult female transported from here to Eskenazi Hospital in critical condition. We had an adult male transported from here in stable condition that also went to Eskenazi. We had another adult male also transported from here in stable condition that went to Eskenazi. And then there was an adult male that was a walk-in at Eskenazi that is also stable, that was from this incident. At approximately 10:01 p.m., unfortunately, the adult female was pronounced deceased by the medical personnel at Eskenazi Hospital. It's fairly early on in the investigation, so all the facts are not gathered yet. It's so early on with it being changed over to an actual homicide.
To follow breaking news now at 7, following an investigation, very active investigation on the city's east side tonight. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jenny Dreisler. IMPD says a man suspected of shooting at police is now barricaded inside a home. Fox 59's Scarlett O'Hara joins us live from the scene. And Scarlett, what are police telling you about this situation?
Well, that update did come in about an hour ago, and IMPD said the suspect that they've been searching for the past few hours is now barricaded inside of a home here at 19th Street and Hawthorne Lane. You can take a look at the scene behind me here. This is about as close as we can get to the scene, because obviously there's still a very heavy police presence out here. Now, we've seen an armored truck turn down Hawthorne Street. We've seen officers running that way, a negotiator out here, and police say this started just before 4 o'clock around the 5100 block of East 21st Street. That's when officers came out here for an investigation, and at that point located an individual wanted on a warrant. That suspect took off, and IMPD said a foot pursuit began. And at some point, a shot was fired at an officer, though no officers were injured. About an hour ago is where they narrowed their search to a home out here. We talked to a woman who lives close by and says her neighbor wasn't home at the time the suspect was on the run. That's when he chose her house as a spot to barricade. Here's more of what she had to say.
Can't even imagine what would be going through your mind if it's your house. You left for just a few minutes. This neighborhood's very trusting. I mean, it's very quiet over here. And then you come home and you can't get in your house. It's surrounded by cops, and you find out somebody who's been shooting at the police is barricaded in your house.